mind giving us a quick overview of your career journey here at Booz Allen?
Yes, thanks, Kate. I'm Sybil Campbell. I am a senior associate in the aerospace account. I've been with the firm for a little over 7 years. I'm a comeback kid, which just means I left Booz Allen and I came right back. Before Booz Allen, I did 2 years at DISA, and then before DISA, I did IT for the Air Force. While at Booz Allen, I've done a lot of jobs. The last year, I've been a pillar lead for all of our investments across aerospace, infrastructure, platform, software, and applications. Before that, I was the chief architect at F-35, like my favorite job I think ever. And then before then, I focused on cloud migrations for the 5 years before that. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thanks, Sybil. Now I'd like to introduce you to Michael Referso, cybersecurity engineer at Booz Allen. Good afternoon, Mike. Could you please share a
Hey,
bit about yourself for the folks in the audience?
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kate. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Referso. I am joining you today from Washington State at our beautiful Bremerton Maritime Technical Facility located here. Uh, I have a background primarily Navy. I retired from the Navy October of 23. I did a short stint at Amazon with the Amazon Dedicated Cloud team and ultimately decided to land here at Booz Allen supporting our unmanned autonomous vehicle work, specifically supporting as a cybersecurity engineer for those vessels. A couple of fun things that I've done here in the firm. I've supported 4 different contracts. I've deployed to Japan and Okinawa to do some bathymetry surveys, which is kind of outside the norm for cybersecurity. I have also deployed to Yokosuka, supporting our Puget Sound Naval Shipyard team out there. And now I'm supporting Submarine Readiness Squadron 31 for a dashboarding effort. So lots of different things that I've done in addition to my cybersecurity work. So kick it back over to you, Kate.
Awesome. That's some exciting stuff. Allison, love to kick it over to you for your introduction, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Lambert. I am here in, I think it's sunny San Antonio, Texas. And I've been with Booz Allen for 20 years now. This is my 20th year. And like, so I'm a comeback kid. I left for a bit and came back. But I started with Booz Allen as soon as I finished graduate school as an intern. I'm an environmental engineer, and in my early career, I started working on the BRAC program, our closed and transfer and environmental work, leading towards property transfer and invoices into environmental and so for the country environment creating and audit practices to look forward. Like I had clients career a DLA engineer. So I've got Michael go a beautiful place for work. A couple trips to Alaska and Hawaii were tops. And now I do time either have into work for my hiring for our infrastructure on transportation and areas. So I have to be recruiting and hiring. I'm sure agrees with.
Thanks, Allison. And I know we had a little bit of audio issue for you on our end, so I'll try to bring some of our questions back to give you another opportunity to share some more about your awesome 20-year tenure at Booz Allen and get some of that great info out in the question and answer section. Great, so thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide for an overview of Booz Allen. So Booz Allen is the advanced technology company delivering outcomes with speed for America's most critical defense, civil, and national security priorities. We're made up of 36,000 people who specialize in delivering technology solutions to help our clients transform their missions, supporting our nation, and protecting our communities. We specialize in areas like artificial intelligence and analytics, cyber, digital solutions, health and science, and engineering. We are the leading provider of AI for the federal government. We're an organization with a legacy of impact. As an employee, you get the stability and resources of an established company, but also the resources and agility to bring forward new ideas. Next slide, please. Because our company relies on the talents of our employees and their skill sets, we are a people-first organization. We believe that lifelong learning opportunities make us better. You can upskill, reskill, and pivot your career in a variety of ways at Booz Allen. We offer a structured mentoring program, tuition assistance, in-house learning opportunities, certifications and badging, and an internal mobility program. We also believe that connection is how we grow. So we offer opportunities for connecting with colleagues in a variety of ways. For example, we foster a culture of empowerment for technical employees through our technical experience groups that are focused on learning and development and skill building in critical technology areas like AI, cloud, cyber, data, engineering, and software. Our purpose is to empower people to change the world, and we follow a set of values that guide our business strategy and how we work with each other every day. Ferocious integrity, passionate service, champion's heart, collective ingenuity, and unflinching courage. On our team, you're empowered to think creatively and bring new ideas to the table. Next slide, please. As we pointed out before, we work with the most leading edge technology. 62% of our workforce are technologists, including 6,000 top tier software engineers, and that's on par with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. We have 8,000 cyber professionals and 2,500 AI practitioners. We're recognized by Forbes as a best employer for tech workers. We help transform enterprise systems and improve the nation's most critical infrastructures, creating solutions for some of the most complex, sophisticated, and sensitive enterprise challenges in the nation. You can use your expertise to make a lasting difference for the nation. We've modernized systems that deliver outcomes that rapidly accelerate veterans' claims and benefits delivery, improve citizen experience through AI, and reduce fraud, waste, and abuse. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we provide many opportunities for our employees to connect with others and to build their skills. Our company-sponsored, member-led technical communities give you forums to develop your skills and expand your network. You can explore experiences aligned with your career goals and stay abreast of technical advances. These technical experience groups, or TXGs, are designed to keep you at the forefront of an ever-changing tech landscape. You have the chance to meet with other practitioners and our technical leaders. Each TXG sets up regular learning opportunities like fireside chats, webinars, workshops, and events. You get to find mentors and learn about new career opportunities across the firm. Next slide, please. Before we move on to the panel discussion, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the application and hiring resources that we have for you on our website. You can go to boozallen.com/candidate resources to learn more about what to expect on your journey with us. If you've already applied to Booz Allen, we encourage you to log in to check the status of your application. And in that candidate resources section of our website, you can also check out some frequently asked questions on our hiring process, view our benefits, and read up on some interview tips. Whether you've applied already or you haven't yet, we encourage you to keep exploring opportunities on our career site, careers.boozallen.com. Awesome. So that brings us to our panel discussion. So looking forward to seeing what great questions everybody has provided. Just a reminder that question section was on your screen. So I'll start off with Mike. Um, would love to hear from you, Mike, about um, sorry, your transition from the Navy to Booz Allen and how your military experience has shaped your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So 20 years in the Navy, all of it was in the submarine force. So I got a lot of exposure to different companies that came to the boat to do installations and all of those different products that come on board. And my transition out of the Navy is I knew what companies existed. I didn't really know anything about at the time. Skillbridge, which I did through Amazon, as I mentioned in my introduction. And it was actually some of my networks within the Navy that had also transitioned from the Navy. They were working at Booz Allen, knew my experience and my skill set, and they reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in shifting from Amazon, coming over to Booz Allen, working with the unmanned systems. And that was because of my direct experience with, the extra large tethered vehicle systems, as well as some of our unmanned systems that we deploy in the Navy. And for me, it was a no-brainer. Understanding who I'd get to work with at Booz Allen, the quality of the members that I would be working with, and who I would be working with hand in hand, building some of our cybersecurity solutions. It was just an easy one for me. So that military experience, understanding processes and procedures, knowing that we'd be working with DoD clients, everything just spoke to me. So for me, that transition was pretty easy, pretty easy call for me, and that's the biggest reason why I decided to shift over here to Booz Allen. And what allowed me to do that? All that military experience, and then my time at Amazon, getting to understand the corporate world.
Awesome. Love to hear that. And Sybil, you're also a veteran. So could you discuss how your skills in the Air Force helped you prep for your Booz Allen civilian career in aerospace?
I think it's I think it's really fascinating because I've always done IT since like 17 and a half when the Air Force trained me how to do IT. And coming to Booz Allen, it's been eye opening, and I think the like some of the advantages I have because of my Air Force experience is like I truly have empathy for their problems. I like hear them when they're like, this is how I want to migrate this data to the cloud, and this this is is the how I type want of to data that migrate I this data have, to and the this is why, cloud. and this is the type of data that I have, and this is why we can't use this third party application. You're like, yeah, I know. That's weapon systems data. And it just gives you this level of understanding and this ability to have these conversations with the client to understand that there is no cookie cutter solution, unique and special. And I think that's where boosting that mission. And I think my Air Force background just put me in the right place at the right time that I was just like, yes, let's flex all over this because I understand it.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that. And we had a question from our audience about the comeback kid term that you used in your intro. You'd mentioned that you worked for Booz Allen, you left for a brief time, and you came back. So could you share your experience leaving Booz Allen and then returning as a comeback kid, and let us know what it was that brought you back?
Yeah, like I said, I have been doing IT and DoD my entire life since 17 years old. And so I just had this I needed to know if the grass was greener on the other side in this like commercial world and the startup world. And you hear about these kombucha machines and you can build all the technology as fast as you can put it out into the market. What is this accreditation? What is this red tape? And so I just wanted to sink myself into that, and I did, and I loved it for a few weeks, maybe a few months, And then I had this like realization that everything I talked about, my veteran experience and how I care so much about the mission and why I do this job, I just missed it. I missed the reason that I work so hard being our clients and being the missions and making planes fly and keeping people safe, like all that really cheesy, amazing stuff. And yeah, I sent my prior principal a message and I was like, I'm coming home. I don't know where I'm coming, but I'm coming home. And 3 weeks later, I was back at Booz Allen supporting the F-35 program.
That's amazing. And I think that's kind of a common theme across folks at Booz Allen, whether they're comeback kids or not, but just the cheesy stuff, like you said. Sometimes that's true with the supporting of the mission, and that's what a lot of our workforce is driven by. So thank you for sharing that. And Allison, you're also a comeback kid. And you mentioned in your intro, you've been with us for over 20 years, minus that brief stint we don't like to think about where you left us and then came back. So could you give us a little bit of background into your whole journey over the 20 years? Hopefully we can hear you a little bit better this time, and share a little bit about the different locations that you were lucky enough to work in. I know that you have been able to support projects across the country, and started as an intern and have made it to a lead engineer. So I'm sure our audience would love to hear some background there.
Can you guys hear? Can you hear me now? Better.
So far, so good.
Okay. So again, I'll repeat a little bit of what I heard since my great. Allison Lamb, Antonio, Texas, Booz Allen years. And yeah,
Allison,
okay.
sorry, I think it's gotten a little worse even. So we might ask you to dial in from your cell, or work with our IT folks on the line to hopefully get your connection a little better. But I'm going to circle back to that question because I think our audience would like to hear the answer. Um, and we did have another question from our audience that is for Michael. The question is from another former Amazon employee, and he'd like to hear from Michael how Amazon's culture of curiosity helped him in his journey to Booz Allen, and a little bit more about the culture here. So, Michael, could you dive into that a little bit, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Amazon has a lot of different leadership principles, and one of the things that I learned while at my team there working in the Blackfoot building over in Seattle was they really strive to hit the mark when it comes to those leadership principles. And uh, in the Navy, we call them our core values: honor, courage, commitment. And that was something that I was able to quickly identify that civilian corporations have the exact same ideals and goals. They want to strive towards a product. And for me, coming over to Booz Allen, looking at Booz Allen's culture and how they treat their employees, how they treat their workforce, really spoke volumes to me. One of the things that I do on the side, in addition to some of the other projects that I lead, is I support our armed services community, which is an employee community here that support our veterans, military spouses, and then parents of military children. And that organization encompasses about just a little over a third of the workforce here at Booz Allen. So it's not a small group. We recognize talent and we go after that talent because one, just like Sybil said, we are right next to their problem sets because we live their problem sets. And when I finally got to Booz Allen and recognized that part of the culture, it was hands down amazing. I've absolutely loved it. I've loved being part of our community, leading some of our initiatives to make it an even better place to work than when I even started, a year and a half ago. So Amazon really showed me how company cultures can really affect the business. Booz Allen showed me when they follow them 100%, we are right there supporting our clients. And They do that by doing a people first approach, and it is a true people first approach here at Booz Allen.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael, and thanks for the question. I think we have a little bit of a clear connection from Allison. Can we hear from you, Allison? See if it's a little bit better. I think you may be on mute. Mm.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you are.
Oh, there I
Great.
am. Okay. Hi,
Loud and
everyone.
clear.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess I take the technology worst badge today.
Well,
So I'll repeat some of what I said in the intro since you guys missed it. So my name is Allison Lambert. I live in San Antonio, and this is my 20th year with Booz Allen. I started as an intern um, way back in when I finished my master's degree. And my first job at Booz Allen, I was working on what it's called the BRAC program. It's all the closed Air Force and all closed military bases. And I am an environmental engineer, so we're doing environmental restoration and cleanup at those bases, leading to what ultimately be property transfer of bases or parcels at those bases. And that's what I did for a number of years. And then I moved into doing cost estimating and environmental cost estimating and cost modeling. And in that role, I was doing a lot of training. I traveled all over the country, went to many great places, Alaska, Hawaii, not going to complain about that. Um, and I visited, gosh, almost every Booz Allen office that there is, or at least at the time in the company. I've been to so many Booz Allen offices. But also there was a short time where we lived in Houston and I worked out of the Houston office. My husband was working at NASA. We just had our first child. And we wanted to be able to relocate, and the firm was totally supportive. They're like, yep, we have an office there. Feel free to go in, do your work there. And it was really seamless. And at some point we decided we were going to go back to San Antonio, and we did that. And like Kate mentioned, I'm also a comeback kid. I just at some point was like, I've been doing this for a long time. I want to try something new. I went out there, tried something new, and I liked it, but kind of like what Sybil said, I really missed the values and I really missed the mission of my client. I went to work for a commercial construction firm, and it was great. It was interesting. We were doing really cool stuff, but I just really liked this idea that I was helping out the American people, which, yep, it sounds cheesy, but it really matters to me. So I came back to Booz Allen, and now in my current role, I'm doing about half-time environmental restoration and cleanup work. And a lot of that is really cool because we're modernizing data systems and we're using like GIS in new ways. And we're looking at different contaminants than we used to in the past. So it's certainly not the same old work. And then the other half of my time, I'm leading hiring efforts for our climate and infrastructure business. So it's a little bit about what I'm doing. If I missed anything that you were trying to touch on, Kate, just remind me. Thanks.
yeah, that's great. Thank you. Always love to hear those success stories of folks who started as interns and have worked their way up. I know that that's the case for our CEO as well. So one of the cool things about Booz Allen is you really can start from scratch and build a whole career. We always say we are hiring for a career, not for a project. That's one of our favorite lines on my recruiting team, but it really is true. And you can see that based off of these three with their varying tenures with Booz Allen, but just getting more and more involved in the company and our various groups. So it is another cheesy thing we like to say, but it is true. We got another question for Michael. With cybersecurity being the modern day hot topic, what kind of advice would you give a current career transitioner from an admin role who is working on certs but does not have direct working cyber experience to put on a resume? Does Booz Allen have an entry level type training program? And I can speak a little bit to our tech excellence program with regards to the latter part of the question. But Michael, any advice that you would give to someone who's trying to enter that space?
Man, for any advice that I give, there's always going to be a counter argument to it. That's the great thing about cybersecurity. I think the one thing that I always point out to people that ask me that question is cybersecurity isn't a job. You have to look at what you're trying to do in the cybersecurity realm. Because cybersecurity is too broad to categorize into a single thing. Are you trying to do penetration testing? And then within that, are you trying to do red team? Are you trying to do blue team? Are you trying to do a purple team mix? You also have the compliance side. And then within compliance, there's two different fields. You have civilian compliance, you have government compliance, two very different topics and two very different career fields that you can go after. So the one thing I always challenge people whenever they ask that question is, what are you really trying to do first? Narrow that career field down, then start looking at what is required in that career field. I'm going to use pen test as just the example here. If you want to do pen testing and you want to do red team, well, then build those reps and steps to do red team actions. That includes network sniffing. That includes scanning of networks. That includes light pen test. If you're trying to do cybersecurity as a whole, you're going to fail. There's too much out there. For the tech excellence side, I'll pass that over to Sybil, but that would be the rough answer that I would give you for really focus on one particular skill set and make sure that it's something you're truly passionate about. Me personally, I hate pen testing. It is the bane of my existence. I cannot stand it. But I am really weird because I like admin. So compliance is fun for me.
Awesome. I think that's really helpful. And yeah, Sybil is actually one of our hiring managers who has brought in some great cyber talent to the company. I've been lucky enough to partner with her on some fun roles. So, Sybil, do you have anything to add to Michael's um, what he shared?
I think all of that was such amazing advice, but when other teams come to me and they say, "I need a cyber person," okay, what kind? Like DoD, commercial, pen tester, like what flavor? But I was gonna say like cybersecurity is just one of those fields that there's so many certs. Like you can almost get overwhelmed just being like, I'm gonna get a cert in cybersecurity. So I typically tell people because Booz Allen supports the DoD like a lot, like in the high, I don't know the number, but last time I heard a number, it was like 70+%. So I always tell people if you just want someone to take a chance on you, then go out and get that security plus. Like it's a bare minimum requirement just to touch a government system, right?
Mhm.
So might as well get that under your belt and then start doing those courses, right? And there's so many courses with labs. I personally really liked CASP. I really like Pentest Plus. Like I enjoyed them. And then there's so many conferences you can go to, like not probably not DEF CON, that's a little bit extreme, but like there's NCCDC, like people like me go hack people going to school for cybersecurity, and then afterwards we get to talk about like how I got into your system. It's just a fun way to network and a fun way to build those relationships. And I've hired people from those conferences that I just thought had all the right personality and all the right skill, and I was like, I want them on my team. I will take a chance on them. So everything Michael said is perfect, but you have to, I feel like whether you work for Booz Allen or work for someone else, like you have to start putting in the work to show someone like Michael or myself or whoever, like, take a chance on me. I'm passionate about this thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to echo what you said, Sybil, just from the recruiting perspective, that Security Plus certification or the general DoD IAT level 2, that is a non-starter for most government programs. So to have that under your belt, even if you don't have the experience, that's giving you an edge. We also at Booz Allen have a really cool program called Tech Excellence, and it really is, the purpose of it is to bring in really talented, either junior folks who are very early in their career, as a whole, or folks who are looking to transition careers. Maybe they've been on the admin side for many years and they want to pursue a career in one of our technology areas. We have AI, we have cyber, there are a few data science. So that's a really neat program. We have some information about it on our website, but that starts in cohorts. So it's not continuously hiring. It's a group of employees that all start at once. They're in a cohort, which is really neat. They all get to start together, take courses together, have fireside chats with senior leaders, and pursue certifications as well. That's part of it, where the company will help sponsor you for certs and support you in that effort. So another really nice way to transition into a tech career. Thank you guys for that. And great question. Allison, we've got a question from you from our audience regarding your environmental engineering experience. What was your favorite project that you've worked on in the environmental engineering space? And could you tell us a little bit about it?
That's a great question. So, pardon me. Let's see, about, I don't know, 10 years or so ago, we did a big, like a kind of government-wide effort to wrangle costs for environmental engineering projects so we could better predict what our cleanup project costs would be. And so I got to visit, I managed this project, and I got to visit 10 or 12 different sites across the country, a couple of Corps of Engineers offices, the Air Force Civil Engineer, and a couple actual like large project sites, some with the Department of Energy up in Hanford, Washington, which is really, really a cool cleanup site. It's just the massive scale of everything is insane. And we were really like, it was really kind of old school. We are digging in old files and cabinets of things to find old projects and what we did in the projects and what the costs were. I mean, that's the data that we had. And so we were kind of sitting there in jeans and steel boots in these old file rooms and digging up stuff and trying to pull out what we could and make something out of it, and going out and visiting the sites at the same time and kind of see what some of the active projects were doing. And it was really cool to see. It was multi-funded, so it's funded by like the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, Corps of Engineers, Department of Interior funded. It was just really cool to be part of this like government-wide group of everybody with the same interests working together to get everybody's interests taken care of. It was a really good example of like efficiency and use of government resources to just get it all done in one effort. And I was really, really proud of the work we did on that.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Great question. I loved hearing Allison's answer. So thanks for asking. Another question from our audience: what is the fastest growing area of your organization? Sybil, I'm going to kick that one over to you.
Yeah, I love this question, and I think it's one of the reasons that Booz Allen always remains so relevant, and the people are always upskilling and growing and changing. I was not a cloud engineer when I was hired at Booz Allen, and so in 2017 it was cloud because we just did our first accredited cloud accreditation, first and second within a year, and so everyone lined up and they were like, "Me too, me too," and we ended up doing dozens and dozens. After that, the trend was definitely AI, and Booz Allen came out with so much training where you could just go get a badge saying, "Hey, I understand. I had this elevator pitch. I want to go deeper," and they allowed people to go deeper. And what's really interesting, because of where I sit on the investment world, we just did a think tank, if you will, and we put on a big mural board, like these are the things we're seeing, with uh, open source research that other companies are prioritizing. This is the big things that Booz Allen should prioritize, and we ended up mapping that, and then we took that and mapped it to our sectors to say like, oh well, the CTO is really good at this, and Aero is really good at this, and um, I didn't do anything with the data personally. I had a lot of opinions about it, but we gave that to senior leadership to help them maybe define their 5-year strategy. So if you go look in the next month, those 5-year strategies for each sector will be published. And I'm not a gambler, but if I was, I would gamble that AI and space and layered-based defense and cloud security are all going to be part of an emergent technology that we continue to invest in, but they'll be aligned to different sectors based on what those sectors are really, really good at. So cyber is also huge, but like cyber and cloud at this point, right? They were emergent, and everyone was throwing resources. We didn't have enough of that talent, right? People like me, other people cross-trained. But now it's kind of interesting to me because cloud and cyber are all almost, if not definitely, considered core capabilities now. Booz Allen is so good at them. They're not standing up new emergent techs. They're like, oh, we have 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 people who could crush that. And now we're investing in that AI in that space.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know I set it up top, but I had a lot of stats that I threw out. So just reiterating, we are the leading AI provider to the federal government. So as that was kind of an emerging um, capability for Booz Allen, it's now become kind of one of our major skills and assets that we have. So always changing, right? There's always something new. Awesome. See a question for myself regarding security clearances and getting in the door with Booz Allen without a clearance. So the question reads, do you need a clearance to get in the door? Am I able to obtain a clearance on my own? The security clearance process um, is unique in that you cannot go out and obtain it on your own as an individual. You do need to be sponsored by not only a company, but also a federal project. So even just because you're an employee of Booz Allen, if your particular project that you're on doesn't have cleared work and doesn't require cleared professionals, that's not something that we would just automatically submit you for. But we do have a lot of positions that are either uncleared or what we call clearable. You can filter on our job site for requisitions that don't require a clearance. And you'll see on a lot of our positions that in our basic qualifications on the requisition, it'll list ability to obtain a security clearance. So applying for one of those positions would be a great way to get your foot in the door with the company and ensure that you would be aligned to a position that would require a clearance on the line and that we would be willing to sponsor you for. Great. And I wanted to bring it back to one of the slides that we had about experience groups. Um, this could be any one of you. I know you all are involved in various ways in our TXGs, but could one of you dive in and explain the role that you have and the benefits that you found from being a part of one of our TXG groups?
There's so many of them. First off, and one of the reasons why Booz Allen has these is, like it was mentioned before, we cross-pollinate our skill sets. So just because I'm a cybersecurity person doesn't mean that I don't have the ability to learn new skill sets, right? We hire for your career, not for a specific job. That was mentioned earlier, and it's very much a true statement, especially when you look at those, technical experience groups. You have the ability to join a group if you're interested in it. So my perfect example, I decided to join the artificial intelligence and machine learning experience group. And I had heard of a new program that Booz Allen was starting, which is called Bootstrap AI, which essentially is a training program that Booz Allen does to train current Booz Allen employees to learn about AI ML and then have the ability to gain that skill set and then work on those contracts, because now you have a baseline level of understanding. So me, cybersecurity compliance person, I hopped on board and started to learn the basics of AI, coding, starting to look more at the modeling and sim of different data sets. How do you apply those data sets to a project? And that's just my example. I think Allison has a lot of experience in this side of the house, but I'll kick it off to the other two to kind of fill in some of the gaps.
Thanks. Sybil, do you have anything to add about your experience with the TXGs?
Yeah, we've used them, we've partnered with them a lot to do like their showcases and show up to the summits and to really when I have staff that don't know what they want to do, like I don't want to say when they grow up because I still haven't decided what I want to do when I grow up. But when we have these staff that that just like the world's our oyster and Booz Allen has so much opportunity, it almost becomes overwhelming to an extent. And I like to tell myself, like, go to these TXGs, ask people who are on a similar journey as you, like what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they like. My favorite parts of the TXG is when we finish something, right? And it's presentation ready and we do these watch parties and just to meet the people that are in the room and ask them, like there was a previous question where someone asked about cybersecurity. I think the best way to get into any role if you're not sure is to go to an event like that. Find the person who's presenting, find someone who's like standing up there, their name is on the slide, maybe they're not the one presenting, and walk up to them and be like, what does it take to do exactly your job? And I'm not coming for your job, but like I want to know. And so I just think the networking around it is not only the curiosity of the tech, but maybe that's just me as an engineer, like that's great. But it's getting to network with the people that you're gonna run into again at Booz Allen and you like need those skills.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to just back off what you said with going up to somebody in the room and picking their brain, we do have our structured mentoring program as well. Of course, there's always informal mentorships and um, networking and connections, but we have a great structured mentoring program, which I know um, would be great for someone early in their career. And Allison, do you have anything to add on your experience with TXGs?
Um, yeah, so our TXGs they're largely around like our digital and our tech world, right? And so when they first came out, a lot of us environmental engineers were like, wait, what happened to us? But we're using a lot of these tools. Like we're using AI to go through some of these old, you know, projects and pieces of data trying to pull out stuff. We're using GIS for our mapping work, like, and so one of my executive leaders sponsors one of the TXGs and she asked me to kind of help with her. And so I started dialing into those meetings and attending some of them in person. And it's really helped me in our hiring, in hiring, just understanding like what we're bringing in, being able to speak to people, being able to help new people who've onboarded to network, like, oh, I met this person over here, they're doing this. And because networking is, like Sybil said, it's so important at Booz Allen. And part of that is because, like we've said a couple times, we hire to a career, not just to a job. And networking is part of that. And like the more people you know and the more little niches you know to like go look for work or meet somebody, it helps you stretch out your career at Booz Allen. TXGs have been fascinating to me just to learn some of the new stuff and how it does apply to some of our like old fashioned, more legacy work. Um, we always kind of joke that we just like play around with bugs and bunnies, but it's a lot of it's really gets getting advanced.
Awesome. I love that. Great. And it looks like we have a lot of either former or transitioning military folks in our audience here. So we're getting some great questions, um, transitioning from the military and joining Booz Allen and what sort of resources we have here for those folks looking to do so. So, Michael, would you speak a little bit to that, being a former military member and being so involved in that armed services community?
Yeah, absolutely. Booz Allen, we are a SkillBridge partner. So for those in the military, it is called SkillBridge. We all know that. Um, Booz Allen specifically goes through a third-party company called Hiring Our Heroes. So if you're interested in doing a SkillBridge with any of the teams at Booz Allen, you must apply through Hiring Our Heroes because we partner with them exclusively. Um, that program is a 12-week program. It allows you to join one of 3 cohorts that happen every single year. And just recently, we have expanded some of our offerings to do off-cycle cohorts, which means you don't necessarily fall nice square in 12 weeks worth of time because we all know how the military works if you ever put that uniform on. So we do offer that flexibility as well for you to do either a shorter time or maybe just a little bit longer. We also go outside the boundaries of when those cohorts happen. And the way that our SkillBridge program works is you join one of the teams that's at a local facility. From there, we have a training program that is put together for you to help get you to the point of military in uniform. Let's get you some additional skill sets, some additional knowledge, so that when you come out of your cohort, one, you have additional skills you can put onto your resume that are tangible. Two, they have the ability to actually land you a position, even if it's not with Booz Allen, because as I mentioned before, a third of our firm is military. So we care about the service member, we care about those military spouses. We want to make sure you're set up for success. And then 3, in the majority of our cases here, we strive to only host if there is a potential for a job opening. I'm not saying that there's going to be a guaranteed job because that's not what the SkillBridge program is designed for. But our stance at Booz Allen is we do these cohorts with the potential intent of doing a hire at the end of it. So that means that we're very selective when we go after our candidates. And that means that we're looking for the absolute best of the best when we do our source selection. And our program is open not only for uniform service members, we also do military spouses as well. So we want to make sure that we care of both sides of the house.
Yeah, that was an excellent description, Michael. Thanks for that. And I know on the recruiting side, I we have a specific team that works with our hiring our heroes fellows and getting them placed. It's our military recruiting team. So I'm not super involved personally, but I wish I had the stat. I know it's a really impressive conversion rate for the hiring our hero fellows to full time Booz Allen employees. So wish I had that number handy, but I know that, as you said, it's not an absolute guarantee, but we do take care to select folks that we feel would be good Booz Allen fits long term.
Absolutely. And I think some of the numbers, just off the top of my head, just from the last meeting I had with the military programs team, because I'm one of the host teams here in Washington, so I lead all of our Pac West area. So that's Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and then our Indo-PACOM, like Pacific area as well. Now, Booz Allen as a firm, we're a little over 35% of all of our hires in the last year have come from the military or military spouse. And then our higher conversion rate out of the hiring here program is over 90%. So,
Wow, 90%.
and we just won, Booz Allen just won best company from hiring our heroes this last year.
Awesome. Love to hear it. And thanks for being one of the host teams and supporting that program. We've got another question from the audience for Sybil. How does Booz Allen differentiate itself from its competitors in the aerospace industry?
Yeah, I think one thing immediately comes to mind. Like I said, the last 10 months, I've been managing investments across all of aerospace, and um, I don't know the collective sum of all of those investments, but I can't I can't think of our competitors standing up an entire sub account where they were like, and fun fact, we didn't stand up an entire sub account and then just throw staff that weren't passionate about these investments. Like these staff were handpicked from the markets that they supported. So like the best in cloud and the best in space and the best in AI. And we brought them into a room, virtual room, like we brought them into the safe bubble and we said, go make this better. For as long as I have been a Booz Allen employee, and according to my leadership, for as long as they have been a Booz Allen employee, that was the first time we'd ever did that. We've said moving this across the line and achieving this mission is more important than anything else, and you guys know best. And so they weren't billable. They had very explicit requirements and very explicit goals, and it's crazy to me. Like we took 27 investments and we took 20 like over the finish line. I don't know the exact number, but a very high percent. And the ones that we didn't take over the finish line was also crazy to me because it wasn't a you're not a worthy investment. It was like, oh, well, we have two investments that are very similar, and one is about prototyping and one is about delivery. Let's not recreate the wheel while we're like literally in motion. Let's do this one next year. And so it was so strategic and so valuable. And I think it's a really good example of how Booz Allen like put their money where their mouth is and said, no, but we really want to be the number one at this thing. And as mentioned before, like we already are in so many cases. But it just shows that we're not complacent and they want to continue to be the best in all these areas. And we're going to see that next year. Other like Arrow was the account that prototyped this, but other accounts were like, dang, Arrow did really good because they were focused on this one thing. And now other accounts are like, Arrow, how did you do that? And so it's really you say progress and is contagious, right? So I think in this case, we spread the love, and I think it's going to be really awesome.
Fantastic. Thanks. That's all really exciting. Um, and a question for Allison. Could you please discuss the impact of your work on infrastructure modernization?
Oh, that's a fun. Oh gosh, that's a fun question. Um, so I'll answer that kind of in a micro fashion and at a higher level too. So me personally, what I've been working on, um, so in some of the work that I do for the FAA, we will, the modernization starts with an assessment of our existing infrastructure, and that's kind of where my sweet spot lies in my work. So we might go out to existing air traffic or radar facilities and assess them, whether or not they need to come down, they need modernization of some sort, they need to be moved. There's an environmental assessment that goes with that. And so that's kind of the part of the project that I work on. But we have entire teams of people, and thankfully I am involved in sourcing and hiring these people to our company, and then mentoring and growing them when they get here. Is we're working on now the actual modernization of air traffic control systems. We've been working on that. It's a hot topic in the news. It's really exciting, but we've been working on it for years, modernizing these systems, improving safety outcomes in the air, in our railways, using predictive technology to, see if we can come up with better air traffic routes. And so we have systems engineers and product designers and developers and cybersecurity professionals, working on all of those projects for FAA, rail, highways, and then also we're doing similar work in like weather and climate modeling, looking at predictive analytics around how the weather interacts with all these systems. So we're really in this from like looking at the old decrepit buildings with like flaking lead paint all the way to these like modern digital systems. We really understand how our infrastructure has gotten from what it was to what we want it to be. And part of that's because we've been around so long. Booz Allen, and a lot of our staff have been here for a long time, and we really understand these problems well.
Awesome. I love that answer. And that's such exciting, relevant real world problems that you're getting a chance to work on. And then I see a question for me in the chat. What opportunities are there for available for current employees to advance their careers and upskill and reskill the company? I personally think that's one of the things that Booz Allen does the best. Against our competitors. We really value our employees. Like we've said a couple times during this panel, we're a people first organization and we put our money where our mouth is. We have a lot of programs and investments for our current employees. So a couple of quick plugs. We have our Flex Ed tuition assistance program. Brand new employees, day one, you get $5,200 to go towards tuition assistance or certifications, conferences, things that would help you advance in your career. We have our internal badging that we've heard a little bit about from Sybil and Michael, but just to kind of define, it's a badging program. You can get an AI badge, a digital engineering badge is one of the ones that a lot of my aerospace teams are hyping right now. So that just kind of helps you stand out within the career, within the company, and helps get you involved within those TXGs. And then we partner with external vendors for free resources for our employees for certification boot camps and different learning opportunities. And we also have a whole internal mobility team. So those are recruiters, quote unquote, who only work with our existing staff to help find them new opportunities, whether their contracts might be changing or they're looking to reskill into a different area. So those internal mobility recruiters partner with our internal staff to help find them new programs. So we really have a lot of opportunity there. And we're looking like we're getting close to time. So I wanted to just end with one more question to our panelists. If you were to describe Booz Allen in one word, what would that word be? Let's go in the reverse. Let's start with Allison. Allison, did you mute yourself by chance?
I double muted myself. Sorry.
Okay, we got you now. All good. So if you were to
For me,
Booz Allen in one word.
it's agency. I've just had a lot of choice in my career. I've really felt confident from the day I was an intern until now as a lead associate. I'm able to say, hey, this is what I want. I'm also really passionate about doing great work and doing my best for the firm and helping others out. But at the same time, I can say this is what I want for my career, for my family. Like I was able to move to Houston with my newborn and my husband and keep my career going there. And I've been able to change the trajectory of my career and do different things and try new things. And I like that. And I get to do that with my schedule too, to an extent. I get to say like this week, I have been feeling under the weather. And so I'm just kind of like, hey, I need a couple of breaks during the day. So I'm going to work a longer day with more breaks. And nobody has a problem with that. This is what I need. And this company has really been there for what I need. And I feel I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Agency. I love that. Michael, can you go next? Booz Allen in one word.
I'm going to take support, passion, war.
Michael, we're experiencing a little bit of breakage on your connectivity. I'm going to kick it to Sybil, and then we'll come back to you. Maybe do a quick troubleshoot. Sybil, Booz Allen in one word.
Yeah, I would definitely use the word fluid. I think you've heard from all of us, like we've grown up in Booz Allen our own way. We didn't change missions, but our missions have evolved and matured. Even just in my career, right? a sysadmin to a network admin to a cloud engineer to a chief architect. And I just spent the last 2 years getting heavily cyber certified because I just kept finding myself picking fights with cyber people. And so all in one career. And so I just think it's very fluid, and Booz Allen supports that.
Awesome. And Michael, let's try it again. Booz Allen in one word.
Yeah, kill my video this last part. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to cheat to war fighters. And the reason why that is if you're about for defenders, that's something that you have a fire for. Booz Allen place to do it. And we that in
All right, Michael, so sorry. I think we lost you, but I heard you say warfighter support, and I love that as well. Just brings it all back to the mission that we've been talking about, especially with our DoD portion of the business. So thank you all so much for your thoughtful questions. We hope you enjoyed learning about our national security missions and hearing this panel share their experiences and their insights. This QR code here on the screen can be scanned to view a list of our open roles. And if you haven't already, go to careers.boozallen.com and sign up for our talent community to receive career information and job opportunities straight to your inbox. So they'll be emailed to you on a regular basis. Thank you all very much for your time. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you about Booz Allen, and hope you have a great rest of your day, and hope to see each of you again soon. Thank you.